So there are many different types of ecosystems. So I chose to study the wetland ecosystem. So my topic in this webinar is the conservation challenges of wetlands in the changing land use and changing climate. So wetlands, we know that it is broadly defined as a variety of shallow water bodies and high groundwater environments that are characterized by permanent or temporary inundation. In most cases, we have the temporary inundation in wetlands. The floodplains and areas along rivers and lakes that are seasonally inundated, upland areas that are covered with peatlands, tundra areas in Upper Russia, Canada and Alaska, and coastal areas affected by the daily sea level fluctuations are included in wetlands. As per the one estimate given by Ramsar Secretariat, in the earth all over the world, we have about 20% swamps and 15% floodplains and 24 million hectares of mangroves area and about 60 million hectares of coral reefs. The largest remaining areas of wetlands are the high latitudes and the tropics. The agricultural expansion and other developments have destroyed many wetlands in temperate regions. We know that over the last 5 or 10 years, more than 60% of wetlands have been reclaimed. Wetlands are characterized by the large number of ecological niches and harbor a significant percentage of world's biological diversity. It is a rich area of biodiversity. Wetlands are highly dependent on water levels, and so changes in climate conditions that affect water availability will highly influence the nature and function of specific wetlands, including the type of plant and animal species within them. The wetlands provide several critical functions that are essential for sustainable developments. That is found in many areas. Ecosystem functions are defined as the capacity of natural processes and components of natural, semi-natural system to provide goods and services to satisfy human needs. That is according to the Ramsar, according to the Ramsar Secretariat. The wetland function that can be generally be grouped into 4 types. There are regulation, provisions of habitats, protection, and also provision for information. Wetlands are important regulators of water quantity and water quality. Several types of wetlands are known to act as hydrological buffers. For example, I'll tell you the floodplains. These wetlands store water and rivers over top their banks because they act as sponges. Many wetlands can absorb water and retain it in it. So they reduce the flood risk in downstreams. The value of these services may be considerable and often technical alternatives to regulate the quantity of flow, which are very much expensive. Wetlands not only regulate the quantity of water flow, but also regulate its quality. So we know that the reed beds and other wetland plants, for example, they are known as important regulators since they remove toxins and excessive nutrients from water, especially the mangroves. They can absorb the toxic substances and they can store it inside their body without harming the plant. The maintenance of many complex biological processes involving soils, water, plants, animals, and microorganisms is necessary to sustain these ecosystem services. The functioning of a wetland ecosystem gives rise to a wide diversity of species as they support important level of global biological diversity. So there are about more than 10,000 species of fish, over 4,000 species of amphibians, and numerous species of waterfowls. Many components of wetland ecosystems also provide resources for direct human consumption, including water for drinking, fish, fruit to eat, and also medicine, timber, peat, fuel wood, everything. The harvesting of wetland goods while respecting the production rate and the regenerative capacity of each species can provide significant benefits to society. So all those who are there, the remaining there on the coastal belt region are having some benefits from these wetlands. In many areas, fisheries rely heavily on healthy wetland ecosystems. In many rural areas, the amount of water available depends largely on water extracted from shallow boreholes or local springs. If areas of reach are maintained and protected, aquifers and springs can provide a sustained amount of water resources for the communities. Wetland ecosystems also provide opportunities for recreation, aesthetic experience, and reflection that we always avoid to think about that, the recreational aspects. The recreational use including fishing, sport hunting, bird watching, photography, and water sports. All these comes under the recreation. Given that tourism is one of the leading income generating industries globally, the economic value of these can be considerable. So the maintaining wetlands and capitalizing on these values can be valuable alternative to the more destructive use of and degradation of ecosystems. Wetland ecosystems provide fundamental ecological functions, including the regulations of water regimes, as well as providing habitat for flora and fauna. Wetlands, as the Ramsar Convention, in Article 1, they define it as include coastal and marine ecosystems, and as coral reefs, seagrass beds, and mangroves. So all these things are having some effect on the climate change. The climate change and the land use pattern are interconnected. Because of the reclamation activities and anthropogenic intervention, we know that these areas of wetlands have been changed during the past many years. So that also changed our land use pattern. That also changed our climatic condition. And especially climate change is due to, we know that mostly due to this carbon emission. So the wetlands are having the power to sequester the carbon into the wetlands through the plants present in that area. So that is not happening when these wetlands have been destroyed. So restoration of ecosystem is a very important theme of this year's Environment Day. So we have to disseminate the idea of restoration of ecosystem to everybody, to the students, to the local people, to the social workers, etc., so that we can restore our earth itself. So I conclude by this speech, I conclude by these few words, and I thank the organizers for inviting me to give this lecture. Thank you very much.